Yo, 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 yo. What's good, people? It is Jason Gooner back in the studio again for another episode of the EPL review show. It is match week 36, and we are here to break down all of the talking points and the matches from match week 36. People, trust me, you can tell by the thumbnail, a lot of things went on in this Premier League week, and my Gunners were at the top of the talking points this week. I see right above me on the thumbnail, you see the big call of the weekend. VAR, did they do too much? Did they overstep their bounds? Did they get to the right call? We have it in the poll tonight. Did the VAR get the call right? I don't need to specify, you know exactly which call I'm talking about. West Ham called for a foul against David Raya at the death to preserve a 1-0 victory for Arsenal. A lot of talking points from that game. A lot of people giving their thoughts around the world, especially over in England, all the pundits and everything. We're going to talk about some of the things that we have heard, and definitely you're going to hear Jason Gooner's point of view on it all as well. Other things that are in the thumbnail tonight, of course, the top five is represented. So we have Manchester City, Doku celebrating Marmoush there as well. They won 3-0. Then you have Manchester United held to a goalless draw at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland, and also Chelsea and Liverpool battled it out to a 1-1 draw at Anfield, and Burnley, not playing for anything at this point, just playing for pride, were able to get a point from Aston Villa at Turf Moor. And of course, there were many more games played in the weekend, and we're going to discuss all of them. But people, first and foremost, this is YouTube. So the best way to help and give support to this program and to the channel in general is to make sure to like the content, people. So if you have been living under a rock, first time on YouTube, you're watching it, the best way to support those that you're watching is to locate the like button, tap it, make sure that you're dropping a like on the video. Even if you're watching it on the television, people, you can use your remote and find that thumbs up button and click on it, and you will give your like as well. All right, people. So make sure you're doing that for me. The next thing I would love for you to do for me is to share the content. All right. I have not shared this content as yet myself. So let me do that as I am speaking to you guys. While I'm doing that, just make sure you're dropping something in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know, did your team get the coveted 3 points this week? Because we like to gauge the temperature of what's going on in the chat. So people, please put in the comment section if you guys did get the 3 points this past weekend. If your club did receive 3 points, just drop a 3 in the comment section. I will start it out because we got it. 3. Big up to Red Skull in the building. Says VAR save football. So we know Red Skull, the votes, the poll is up about the VAR call. Was it the right call? Yes or no? Very simple. I think I have a feeling I know what you're going to vote there, Red Skull. And the votes are anonymous, people. So you don't have to tell us if you don't want to. But of course, we love to hear people's opinions on this show. So feel free to drop your comments about any topic you hear me talking about tonight, and even ones that you want to bring to the table. I'm always willing to go ahead and speak on those matters as well. All right, people, as long as it's football related, it can be discussed. Yeah, man. So let me share this content, people, because I say I didn't do my job as a host by making sure that I'm putting this around in my various networks that I have. So let me go ahead and do that. Yeah, people, but trust me, it was a crazy week, man. I think this week going to go down in history as one of them ones, especially that call in the Arsenal game. It has been so talked about around the world, just dividing opinion everywhere. And, to be honest, like, I asked a question in a group I'm in today, a couple of groups I'm in, and I was just asking, like, what is the real goal here? Do we want to make sure that we get the right call in these games, or is it just having consistency, even if consistency means making the run call in that moment? Because And we're going to discuss this in full once we get to the Arsenal game, because you know the format of the show. We literally go through all the match them that played, and we just go in order of how the matches were played. So even though the biggest talking point is the Arsenal game this weekend, I am not going to skip over the rest of the games just to start there. So we will get there eventually, people. So make sure you stick around, because I'm sure that that conversation is going to be quite heated, you know. So yeah, man, we are yeah, we are going to discuss it all, people, on the show today. So make sure you guys are ready to have the discussion, and we're going to go through and talk about all of the fixtures that took place, people, because we did have 10 matches played. There were 9 other ones, and there were some good matches as well. And of course, you know, if you took part in the score predictions, we have the reveal tonight as well on the show. So there's going to be a winner, and we're going to see who is going to be named the donkey of the week. Who knows? It might be multiple donkeys that we need to go ahead and sort out this week. So people, get ready for some nice footballing discussion. We're going to go through all 10 matches. You know my style, people. We're going to talk about, you know, eye test what I saw, and also take a look at the numbers, the statistics of the game, because I think both of those actually get us to where we want to be, which is having a full discussion, taking into account what happened statistically in the game, because that does tell a story as well. All right, people. So yeah, man, if it's your first time here, just consider dropping a subscribe to the channel. This is a channel that mainly focuses on football. I do love a lot of other sports as well, so at times I might reference NBA and other things, but definitely the you know, the base of the channel is for sure football. So if you love football, you definitely will enjoy this channel right here. All right, people, we are growing the community organically. We don't really buy views, we don't really clickbait, we don't do none of them things. Literally, the people that come here, they know that they are here because of the football substance, the substance in the conversation. And even though I'm a Gooner, Jason Gooner is the title and the name, not the title, but the name or my moniker, so to speak, on YouTube, does not mean that I only speak about Arsenal. Doesn't mean that I can't be objective when I speak about Arsenal. You can ask anybody that's been watching this channel. About 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, I was saying I don't see how Arsenal can win this damn league based on how we're playing football, based on some of the things that I've seen Arteta do. I don't see how we can win the league. I've gotten beaten for that from some Arsenal fans, saying that I am a fair weather fan and this and that. Personally, people, I think true fans are the ones, and this is just my take on this. I think true fans are the ones that can speak honestly about their team, good, bad, indifferent. You understand? Some of my fellow gunners, I must say, they kind of don't really look at reality. Sometimes it's just a fandom thing, and them can even talk things that them don't believe. Them want to will it into existence type of thing. Me upon that. I have been watching Arsenal long enough to know that when things not go right, them just not go right. I'm not gonna talk about it. Now, for all the beat me give Arteta this season, and I was ready to beat him on this past weekend, but you're gonna see when we break down that game that I have to give him some flowers this week, because I think he did some things that actually aided us in getting that victory. And we're gonna talk about that and much more in the show. So, people, without any further ado, we're now gonna hitch and just a chat off our face. We're gonna get right down into the football discussion. So let me get sofa score up, and we're gonna go game by game through the games for the weekend. And basically, by the end of it, we'll take a look at the table again and see what everything means with 2 games left in the season. Only 2 teams have 3 games. That's Palace and Man City. And of course, they play their game makeup match from earlier in the season this coming Wednesday. So in a couple of days, there's another game with City and Crystal Palace. With that being said, the FPL week concludes after that game. So we can do a check today on where we at, how we're doing so far, see if we made a move up the table in fantasy, the traditional, and also my draft leagues. I was making a push to try to get the first in some of these leagues, see if that momentum continued into week 36 or not. All right, people. So that is what is going to take place in the show tonight. So let's get this thing rolling. People, let me just big up the people in the comment section. We Blaze, big up Red Skull already. Big up to David J. David J said, which game you talking about, VAR? No, it is the Arsenal versus West Ham decision at the end of the game. That is the VAR game that that's the VAR decision I'm referencing in the poll. All right. So David J, if you know what's going on, then yeah, that is it. Up, Conrad. One Barca. We know that's forwarding very quick after the link, after the bless up. So big up yourself and congrats to the La Liga title as well. A Liga title. Yeah, man. You guys win, but I want some more drama. Hey, Conrad, one thing for sure, Arsenal is going to bring some kind of drama as it relates to getting this Premier League trophy over the line. A lot of people saying, yeah, West Ham was the tough one. We got by that and got the 3 points. I don't believe that because, everybody's saying Burnley have nothing to play for. Well, Aston Villa will tell you, Burnley did not walk over in that game. They kept fighting, They came back through the game and ended up taking 2 points off of Aston Villa. And going into that game, most of us, including myself, figured Villa would win. I think everybody predicted that played in the game. Make sure, yeah, everybody that played this week predicted a Villa win. And of course, Burnley gets the draw. So you never know, people. You just never know in this Premier League. The ball is round, and so anything can happen. I feel good about it, though. I do agree that the toughest challenge, only because I think Palace will be a bit spent after playing in the Conference League final. I think Palace away at the face value is a tough fixture. But I just think at where they'll be in their season, the fact that they really can't get to Europe at this point, they can't be relegated. They're in that kind of dead zone. Yeah, I just like the opponents that we have to come up. Burnley, relegated already, coming to the Emirates as well to try to get some kind of result. Since they don't really care about getting a result, they may not sit in a low block that they normally would if they were fighting relegation or something like this. So yeah, I just think that Burnley, unless we keep the game close very late in the game, like we did in the West Ham game, I just think Burnley will probably turn them over. But the Palace game, it's going to be a tricky one at the end of the season, I do believe, because think about it. This is Oliver Glasner's last match with the club. He's already told them that he's not coming back. And if they happen to, let's say, lose the Conference League final, that whole week, couple of days of celebrating after winning, that will not happen. And maybe they come in with a bit of a more chip on their shoulder, trying to at least send off Glasner with a victory after losing that final. Now, if they win the final, chances are they might just be a bit hungover on Sunday when they play us. At least that's the hope, right? But let's not look too far ahead. Let's make sure that we take care of business against Burnley. But before we even get all the way there, we're going to discuss this week's matches that just finished. All right. Arsenal just need to win one more game. Technically, no, because remember, City right now have that game in hand. So if they win that game on Wednesday against Palace, then basically they'll be back to 2 points. And so, that one game will actually turn to 2 games, which I think will happen. Why am I giving man flowers? It is a figure of speech, brother. I didn't actually pick flowers and give to the man. All right. Big up yourself, Duke. The Y police. Bless up DJ Gigs, Wagwan. I thought the ref get in trouble because he helped you guys win. Man's early. Wonder if because Arsenal win. Gigs, not really, It just so happened that normally on a Monday night, like Julie have training and it's a late night thing, but Julie is now training further away. And so mom's actually was on the training duties tonight. So I'm not getting as late a start in the evening to set up the stream and sort out the picks and all this. I was doing that from earlier in the day when I got off. So yeah, it just worked out that way, the Gigs. Nothing to do with the Arsenal win, even though it probably looked that way. Like, I can't wait for the show this time. Yeah, but it wasn't really that, Gigs. But big up same way. Burnley is missing Coach Vincent. Yeah, I don't think this crop of players. I remember, Vincent had this Burnley team in the Premier League and they got relegated. So, it's just, Burnley have what they have, brother. It's going to be tough for them to stay up in this Premier League. When Arsenal lose, our midnight stream I start. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's no way to really go around what you guys saying because it does feel that way because I know it's actually been decent the last few weeks in terms of us getting results. The last time I was really pissed off was what was that game when Arsenal did foolishness in the league? I think the last time I was really pissed was against City. You know what I mean? I think. Or trying to remember if we had another slip up since that. I don't think we did. You know, beat Fulham, beat Newcastle. Um, oh no, we lost to Bournemouth. So yeah, that was the last day when I was like pissed. No, we lost to Bournemouth in that game. 'Cause, yeah, we did lose 2 games back to back. We lost to Bournemouth and then we lost to City after that. So yeah, the City loss was the last time I was probably starting a stream well after hours. You know what I mean? But as I said, it's not really me or anything. It's just how the Monday work out because when I dep on training pick up duty because they might Julie pick a next team. You know what I mean? Well, she never picked her next team. She tried out for a team, made the team, and the team is a lot further away. So, basically, she gone to a better team, and it's a sacrifice we I make for her get on a better side and get better development. So we just have to work with that. But yeah, let's get into the first fixture, which is Liverpool versus Chelsea. Now, this historically is a big game. This time of the season, you're expecting this to have a lot on the line, whether it's Premier League places, Premier League championship fighting, Champions League, anything like that. But due to Chelsea's recent form, this game didn't have as much riding on it. The top four, I would say, pretty much soared up in terms of distance between them and the people catching them, and Liverpool is in with that four. Now Chelsea, with all their recent form, has dropped way down in the table. I think they're down to like mid-table at this point. But this was how this game ended up. It was the first match of the weekend, Saturday morning, and it ended 1-1. Ryan Gravenberch scoring a brilliant goal, cutting in from the left far post. I want to say the keeper, if he timed the jump a little better, might have been able to get a hand on it and tip it somewhere. But Jorgensen just didn't have the stretch to get to it. And then Enzo Fernandez scoring one of those where, you put the ball from a set piece in a decent area, even if no one touches it, it has the chance to go directly into the goal. And that's exactly what happened. The keeper was anticipating a touch from somebody, didn't get a touch on it, and it just literally nestled into that far corner. Not in the air, but a couple of bounces and in to the goal. And, it's one of those ones when you see it on replays, like you want to blame the goalkeeper, but honestly, it's very tough for a keeper when the ball is coming at an angle like that. He's expecting someone to get a touch to redirect it. No one touches it. And really, the only thing would have saved him is if the ball just continued to curl and went out of the goal. But no such luck for Mamadashvili, and it ended up getting to 1-1 at that point. Now, Chelsea looked like they wanted to score a second goal in that first half. I don't know what happened in the changing room at halftime, but Chelsea came out after halftime and just did not look the same team at all in that second half. Callum McFarlane coaching, I think, his second game in the Premier League in a row, and he only used his bench one time. He had some subs on the bench, didn't go with them, just came with Reece James into the game in midfield. All the other 10 outfield players did play the entire game. 9 outfield players and one keeper played the entire game. Liverpool, the worst thing happening on the day was probably that Konate injury. Again, Liverpool, I think, in unsolid ground at this point. I don't believe that they're going to be challenged to get out of the Champions League places, and they definitely can't catch up for the title or anything. So they're just kind of playing out the season at this point. 3 subs were made by Slat, Ibrata, and Isak, Joe Gomez, and Chiesa. So depending on the severity of the injury to Konate, we could be seeing Joe Gomez end off the season next to Van Dijk. But yeah, this game was basically, one that Liverpool probably will feel hard done by not getting the result. Chelsea did a good job of keeping possession at the same time. And to be totally honest, it wasn't that much quality on display in the game. Both teams kind of showing why, they have fallen a bit short of that Premier League pinnacle this year, just not really having the consistency of performance. I think both of the teams have had good runs throughout the season, but you can look at other spells of games where they have both had dips, and I mean big dips in form. Chelsea really hadn't had one like this since the most recent dip in form. But Liverpool definitely had a time this year where it was just looking horrible for them. They have been able to right the ship, I'd say, the past couple of months, and cement themselves in those Champions League places. Chelsea, really bad timing for them to have their worst run of the season right in the running to the end of the season. I just think that that's been what's really held them back. They haven't gotten lucky with injuries either. I think at one point we're wondering, do they have a lot of wingers, but are any of them any good? Well, now we're just wondering, do they have any wingers? Because each and every week it seems like another winger ends up on the treatment table. But these are the stats for the game: 52% to Chelsea, 48% to Liverpool. The expected goals 0.56 to 0.5. So a slight edge to Liverpool there. But again, even with all the territorial dominance in that second half, really not creating enough clear-cut opportunities. Have to give some credit to the defenses as well, but I think more so just a lack of quality from both teams in the attacking phase. I thought one big chance each. Liverpool had two more shots, 8-6. Both keepers made two saves. Liverpool had more corners, 5-2. You see the passing there. Chelsea about 50, 60 more passes overall in the game. Chelsea made double the amount of tackles, and they did have 4 yellow cards. Liverpool had 2. 3 shots on target for both teams. Liverpool did hit the woodwork twice as well in this game. So, like I said, they will feel the more hard done by not to get the 3 points. Both teams did miss the big chance that they did get. Neither of those goals I would consider big chances. So I understand that there. Touches in the position box 24-22, so not much action in the 2 boxes, to be fair. You see the final third entries. Chelsea had 10 more, 45-35, but even the entries number pretty low for both teams. Well, not low, but kind of to below average for both teams. So just a lot of the game played in that middle third, and I'm sure you can see that based on this 45%, almost half the game was taking part in that midfield area. See, passing the final third, Chelsea did have 23 more attempted, but and they both had identical passing percentage. You see the long passes, both teams going around the same amount of times, 144, 143. And you see the crosses, Liverpool definitely utilizing the crossing more and also having a higher percentage as well. You see the ground duels and the aerial duels, how that panned out. So Chelsea were the better team as far as the duels are concerned. And I will say Chelsea is one of those teams that it has a strong team in terms of duels. I remember every match we played against Chelsea, Arsenal, that is one of the few teams that I saw like out physical us in the game, honestly. So that is something that they do have in their artillery. You see the dribbles right there. Chelsea was cooking with the dribbles 69%, 70 -1 for the Jamaicans watching, and 44% dribbling accuracy in terms of taking on players for Liverpool. You see the defending, the tackles, the interceptions, the recoveries, and the clearances there. 2 big saves were made by Marmadashvili, and 1 big save by Jorgensen, who was filling in for the injured Roberto Sanchez. I think it's mainly concussion protocols why he couldn't play. So he should be back by next week, I would think, unless the coach just saw something great in the goalkeeper that started and just continues to go with him. But I think Sanchez should be back for next week's fixture. So like I said, Gravenberch and Enzo scoring. Of course, Palmer did hit the net. Cole Palmer, that is, in the second half, but it was disallowed by VAR, and rightly so. And yeah, the one thing that was a bit surprising was the one sub just being Reece James. But this was the lineups for both teams. We had no Florian Wirtz in the lineup for this one. And of course, Ekitike and Salah both out. Ekitike a bit longer term. Salah, they're hoping can get back for, if not both of the last 2 games, at least one. But this was how Liverpool looked. Back four, Jones seems to be the midfielder of choice for right back of late. Slot has been put in Szoboszlai there. I've seen Curtis there. Surprised they haven't tried Gomez over there at times, but I think the way that he wants them to play, he doesn't mind having a bit of a ball handling player. And they basically, Jones does have a lot of free license to get involved in the midfield play as well. Gravenberg, due to that goal and his overall performance, did end up with the SofaScore man of the match, 7.9 rating. Alexis McAllister, I think he's one of the reasons why Liverpool hasn't really been as good as they were last year. I don't think McAllister has ever hit the levels he was playing at last year at all this season. Gravenberg as well to a lesser extent, but I think McAllister is the one that really I think has let down the team this season so far. Rio, second highest rated player for Liverpool, having another good game. He came off after 67 minutes, and I was surprised because Frimpong wasn't doing anything, and Gakpo wasn't really having the best game either. But he pulled the kid off, who I thought was the best attacker they had on the pitch throughout. Now, when you look at Chelsea's side, they only made one sub, that one sub being Reece James for Andre Santos, but Gusto had a tough day on the day. Good to see for Chelsea fans and for football fans in general. I think Levi Colwill is a good player, one that Chelsea missed badly this season. He got the start and had the highest rating along with Hato on the back line. Moise Caicedo, even with that yellow, 7.3. Fernandez with the goal and the yellow and a 7.3, and Cole Palmer with a 7 on the day. So yeah, this was Craig Parson refereeing this one, and yeah, I just feel like it was a case where Liverpool, they just, even though they had some dominance in the second half and were pressuring, they just did not create enough clear chances for me at any point. And when you do that now and the other team is keeping possession a bit more than you, there is a chance that it can just end that way. And that's what it did. After the 2 goals in the first half, both teams huffed and puffed a bit in the second, but none of them were able to find that breakthrough. So yeah, that's the Liverpool versus Chelsea game. I don't think anyone that played the game this week predicted that for a draw. So it was one big X's throughout that whole line of players. Prediction players. Nobody got that right. So nobody got an advantage after the first game. Everybody went for a Liverpool win, or I think one did go for a Chelsea win as well, but no draw. And that's what this one ended at 1-1. Now, moving on to the second game that was played, there were, I think, 3 matches being played at 10. But the first one we're going to look at is the Brighton versus Wolves game. Now, Jack Hinslewood, you'll see later in my FPL draft leagues, I was able to pick him up. He's a player that probably nobody really talks about when they talk about players. But if you look at Jack Hinslewood's season so far, this must be considered a breakout season for him. By the time it was the 5th minute, Wolves were looking like it was down to another drubbing for them. Lewis Dunk heading at the far post after a brilliant screen by Pascal Gross. You have to learn how to do things like that. And then they took a while to get that third, but eventually Yakuba Minte, who came on, or actually didn't come on, but he switched to the other flank when Mitoma had to come off. He got a brilliant goal near post, but great power on it to the far post, and the keeper was not able to do anything about it. So 3-0 to Brighton, and Brighton is a team that, like Bournemouth, is finding form at the perfect time to try to get them into Europe. Wolves, just one of them days where, you look at it and say, okay, these guys haven't really fully checked out, but they kind of have. And based on these scores here, I know Brighton is the cause for some of these low scores, but I just think that, they are pretty much thinking about the next championship season. You know what I mean? So yeah, anybody that has Wolves to play coming up, I think you guys are in for some points. Next week they play Fulham, so that will be interesting. And the last week of the season, Wolves plays Burnley, so that's a 19 versus 20 game. Doesn't really matter there, but there will be bragging rights on the line. And who knows, maybe going into championship next year, you want to build that momentum against this team. But yeah, some really good performance for Brighton on the day. You know, the Kuiper got the player of the match. Dunk with a goal, Hinselwood, Minte, all eights or above. I think Pascal Gross has been a brilliant um, return player from Borussia Dortmund, where it wasn't quite working out for him over there. He has come back into Brighton, and it's like he never left. And I think John Paul Van Heck at this point has probably played himself into the World Cup squad if he's not there already for the Netherlands. And it might be a good shout for him to partner, you know, who will more than likely be the captain, Virgil van Dijk, in that back line. But that's for another day. Netherlands, I can cheer for you guys freely in the World Cup because Jamaica did not make it, right? So, yeah, I'll start the scouting soon. Yeah, man, but this was the team sheet. You see the back four, the only real change here, Kadioglu had been playing left back and they've been playing someone else at right back. I think it's been Vifa who's been playing over there as a really a midfielder that can play that position as well. And then Baleba and Gross, very good pivot, you know, one really technical ball retention, good through passes as well. And Baleba can give you all what I just told you. Plus, he has the physicality and the bite to, you know, give that midfield a certain presence. Then we have Yankuba Minte and Jack Hinshelwood both got a 8.0, both had a goal. And Hinshelwood in particular has been really instrumental in this last run of games where it's been looking good for Brighton. Welbeck didn't get on the score sheet today, but had a solid 6.8 so far score rating. Then they ring in the changes on the 88th minute. But in the 76th, there was a triple sub, Ruta, Ayari, and Solly March. And then Castulas. So actually, March and Castulas came on later. Ruta and Ayari came on a little bit earlier. Rob Edwards, you know, was trying to stay in it when it was 2-0. But that third goal really and truly hurts because it looked like, you know, they might have been able to nick something at some point, but not like that 3-0. This Brighton team has been really performing well of late. Let's take a look at the overall stats in the game as well. 1.62 to 0.49 in favor of Brighton and the expected goals. And you see the passing the ball possession 72% to 28%. 4 big chances to 2 big chances. So Brighton not only winning games, but playing well enough to be creating multiple chances, 4 big chances. They did concede 2 big chances, but Verbruggen, who I think will be the starter for the Netherlands at the World Cup in goal, was able to make some good saves, at least a save on the day. 14 shots to 5 overall. Shots on target, we're looking at 6-1 in favor of Brighton. Okay. See where they're playing the football. Good balance between left and right, but they did favor the right side a little bit more, did Brighton. And Wolves the same, definitely showing the left side, their left side, Brighton's right side being the problem area. Chances scored 3, big chance missed 1. And then, of course, losing 3-0, there's no way that a goal could have been scored because they only had 1 shot on target, I think. Yeah. And that 1 shot did hit the woodwork. But yeah, Brighton put them to the sword, 3-0. Look at the passing discrepancy. Final third entry is definitely in favor of us. And yep, throw-ins, okay. Passing the final third. So you see the difference, basically almost 100 more passes attempted in the final third by Brighton as opposed to Wolves. They went long around the same 55 to 53, but clearly the ones that wait, geez, 51 to 26%. That's crazy. They're not accurate at all with the long pass then. You see the crossing accuracy very high for Wolves. Ground duels, aerial duels, all right. Ground duels, pretty even. Aerial duels, Jamaica got Jamaica. Brighton got the edge there. I see the dribbles. Wolves should have started broke more. But 9 for 13 is a very, very high standard in dribbling. High claims, all right. And there was an error leading to goal by Wolves as well. I think it was Bueno that made the mistake, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Oh, maybe it wasn't Bueno. Was it Totti? No. How about Yerson? Oh, where are you on so much, man? Big chance miss. Who messed up the play? But Brighton 3, Wolves nil. A few of you know, like this might have been a record for how many? I think 5 people that played this week all picked a 3-0 Brighton win. So big up to Coach Edwards, Duke, JB, Grizzle, and Pristine. They all had that 3-0 to Brighton. Perfectly predicted. All right. Moving right along to the second match in the 10 o'clock window on Saturday, and that would have been Fulham and Bournemouth. And there's no team in the Prem with a better recent form than Bournemouth and probably Manchester City, I think, even though they dropped points too. So Bournemouth might actually be up there of late. I would love to see the table from like January to now. I think Bournemouth would definitely be in the top somewhere. Um, but this was the lineups for the game. Fulham and Bournemouth. I think I said this the last time Fulham played when they played Arsenal. I said that I felt like no Iwobi was a big issue for them. And I think that continued into this game. There's not enough incisiveness with the passing, not enough players with the ability to find that through pass, to thread the needle. So they definitely were missing Alex Iwobi. But yeah, Anderson got a red card in this game, and so did Ryan Christie almost around the same time. So Bournemouth is just a team that, Andoni Iraola kind of wish that he wasn't leaving the Premier League, because I do like the way his team plays. I think he does bring something different to the table. And yeah, I think Iraola is somebody that I'm sure will be getting, a decent level job in no time. You know what I mean? Because he's an up and comer, and his teams, did really well for what probably he had to work with. You know what I mean? All right, so let me see. I've just been talking a whole bunch, and I haven't even checked in with the comment section. So let's see. Burnley fans not coming to Emirates. It's cool. It's a that fam. We get it. Gigs and Duke now gonna believe me, My biggest wish is for Palace to win. Yeah, that would be great. So it's not so damn nail biting next week. The 1-0 win. Hey, the 1-0 win is one of the most heartbreaking for the opponents. I think everyone knows it's a foul, but it's the fact that Arsenal have a Royal Rumble in every set piece have people upset. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's why when we have that discussion, I want to know, what is the goal? Is the goal consistency, even if the calls have been consistently bad? Or is it each and every time you'd rather just the right call? You know what I mean? And I think because of the context of it, and because of what you said there, Rob, like we're almost tricking ourselves to like not. It's like, if you say that it was a foul on Raya, it shouldn't be like but. You know what I mean? But that's what it's been argued like, but this, but that. And I'm telling you, even for all the shenanigans we have had on successful set pieces, there is no time where anybody on our team used one hand or even two hands and held down the hands and arms of the goalkeeper of the opposition. It just it hasn't happened. So, what we saw yesterday, it was unprecedented. Like, not even Arsenal cheats that bad when it comes to corners. In the second half, West Ham was the better team based on the chances they were creating. That's a fact. That's a fact. I think apart from that one little stretch when we scored the goal, when Odegaard came on and was kind of dictating the play, we were the second best team apart from the beginning of the game. Because I'd say the first before Ben White got injured, we were dominating the game. As soon as he went off, the game changed. You watch Barca game, Jason. Madrid was trash. I thought game was going to be nice. Barca have them. Yeah, bro. Madrid have too much crap going on, man. Valverde is the heart and soul. He's out because him fighting him teammate. Like I should have put money on Barca. I knew they were going to beat them. That was a good game to me. Chelsea versus Liverpool. Yeah, it was. It was good. It was good. I mean, it was all right. It wasn't great. Both keeper were mid. To be fair, yeah, true. Big up, baller. Wagwan, G. Yeah, man. Respect is due to the man. Real baller. Pretty much won the title this season, grabbing and fouling people in the box. Almost seemed like spit in the face of people who have been complaining about Arsenal fouls on corner. Crimea River. I think Premier Leagues need to increase the players' travel with squad from 18 to 20. Yeah, good shout, Skull. Good shout. Barca is a better team, to be honest, but Real Madrid might have more bigger name players, but they got players that think they only should attack only and not help the team defend. I think gigs Barca have just as many name players. I just think Barca's team philosophy and how they play is just much more rooted. I don't think Real Madrid kind of know how they want to play. You know, it's very individualistic over there. I was saying to myself earlier when I was watching Sky Sports and the people from the VAR were talking about it, was remembering Rice was holding down a player in a game defending. Yo, Jordan, Wagwan G. Hope all is well with you, bro. Slide kick the ball well with dead ball and in open play. Yeah, man, he can shoot. I believe so. You watch the game, sad real to see them. Like, but I wanted a good game. Yeah, it was Barca's game all day. Doesn't Brighton always play good football? I think they always, to me, even when they had the two previous coaches that left. Yeah, aesthetically, Brighton is one of my favorite teams to watch. They don't rush the ball game, but they are incisive. They have the ability to counter you because they have pace on the wings. Yeah, Brighton has always been a nice team to watch under De Zerbi, under even my boy we used to when they leave and go Chelsea. They used to play good ball under him. My name again, man. Graham Potter. You know, they played good under him, De Zerbi, and you know, this new coach now coming, the young man, and he's been doing well as well. I don't know why his name has slipped me now, but yeah, you know the coach I'm talk about. I didn't watch it, but I watched both teams before. I noticed that Barca should be the better team based on how they play, even though they give up chances. Yeah. And Real Madrid didn't exploit that enough, didn't. Wolves and West Ham. Well, we know for sure Wolves and Burnley. West Ham is still okay. I mean, they can still go through. Tottenham is in the better position because they have the 2 points lead, but Tottenham have some tough games. I think West Ham might have the easier of the games left, but no game is gonna be easy for West Ham right now, or for Tottenham for that matter. I think Arsenal fit Chelsea, but hope he goes to Bundesliga. I think Arsenal fit who? Oh, I think Arsenal fit Areola, but hope he goes to Bundesliga. Okay. I hate the hotter type. Yeah, man, it can get you sometime. I hate the high line, but it works for them these most games. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're gonna have a philosophy, just have the philosophy. Absolutely. I don't see why not. I think maybe the scrutiny of being the Arsenal manager would take some getting used to, but tactically he's on point. Like he causes us problems every time we play them. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, tactically he's very astute, and the difference would be, it's one thing when you're on a Bournemouth and okay, this is my 11 every week. I don't really have people challenging them to take them off the field. With Arsenal, it's a different situation. We have a good, big squad, and I think one of the things that Arteta didn't do well enough this year was making sure to freshen up the squad when need be. It got stale at different points in the season, and you could see the discrepancy between the minutes between players, and he could have just done a better job with that. But I think on the surface, just football wise, Iraola, yes, he would probably do a good job. You know what I mean? Arsenal's judgment is coming. Yeah, man, we'll see. Rice did it to a player in a game before, and you said in that game that players was holding each other, which seems like it's okay for outfield players, but a no-no on goalkeeper, and you're laughing. Well, DJ Giggs, if you've watched football, which I get the sense that you've watched football a lot, right? Would you agree that of all the players on the pitch, the goalkeeper is the most protected? If that's the case, then it would make sense of so much grappling going on in every corner kick on every game of every team. But when the goalkeeper gets handled differently, they do see it differently with the goalkeeper. So this is not an Arsenal only thing. The goalkeepers have always been protected. I'm a striker, so I know I fucking hate how much the goalkeepers are protected. They can jump and knee me in the back of my head, and it's that they have all rights to do so. You know what I mean? So the goalkeepers have always been refereed differently in those situations. So let's not act like a hold on a player is identical to a hold on a keeper. And I'm not talking a hold like this of a keeper. I'm talking about the limbs that he's gonna use to catch the ball being held down. Like, I don't care how upset you are at how Arsenal score from corners. I am yet to see anybody show me a replay or a play of an Arsenal player holding the goalkeeper. Yet to see it. Block, yeah. Screen, yeah. Bump, yeah. But you're not gonna see one holding shirt and one holding down arms. You will not find that at any point this season. As a matter of fact, I did some research today, and I'm not going to tell you about that until we get to Arsenal, but I knew this was going to happen. People want to talk about that because it's the thing, you know what I mean? He's trolling a little, but he kind of means it a little bit too, but he's kind of trolling. He's kind of trolling. We haven't. It's just the facts. We have not. If they can produce it, my Jason Gooner TV and IG, send me a message and show me the goal that Arsenal scored this season where we held the goalkeeper. Both of his arms. He had no arms. Show me that and I will say, you know what I mean? No, take out your team. Because I'm not arguing like this because it's my team, right? Giggs is trying to point out that I said something earlier in the season about Rice, which would make it seem like I should not want to have, I shouldn't think that the call was correct. But the Rice situation, unless you can show me an apples for apples situation, because Rice did it to a player, right? Did Rice hold the goalkeeper? Tell me if Rice held the goalkeeper, Giggs. Let me know. Let me know. The closest thing to what happened in this game was the first game of the season against Man U. And even that, when you the still shot looks like it's similar, but when you watch the goal back and everything that happened, that freeze frame looks like he's holding his arm. He doesn't really hold. It's actually Bayern there hitting him in the head to move him out the way. And that still shot, it looks like he's holding his arm. He's not. He never really holds his arm. Bro, all right. How can I need my wife or my kid or somebody to show you. But you guys saw the play. I mean, the man, both of his arms were held on. I was talking about the Chelsea Arsenal game with Rice. But it was, I don't know, autocorrect. I do a number on your comment, them skull. I'm not sure. All right, so Bournemouth, Fulham, Ryan, I think he's gone what 3-3. You guys think Ryan have an outside chance to make the World Cup team? I don't know. I think it might come a bit too soon for him, but he has been damn good since he been to the Premier League. I'll give him that. He did get the call up in March, didn't play, but he did play in one of the friendlies, got a little bit of minutes. Could he get there? Who knows? Maybe. I know the provisional came out today. I'm pretty sure he's probably in that provisional, so he has a chance. And he's peaking at a very good time, showing really good form. So I wonder if Ryan will make the World Cup team. I wonder. Yeah, but this was the lineups on the day. Senesi having a very good season. probably going to be the next Bournemouth defender to go for millions of dollars somewhere. I think this player should. No, he hasn't really been a staple in the Argentina team, like going through the qualifiers and whatnot. But based on form, Senesi has to be in that World Cup team for sure. He's had a really, really good season. Um, and this is a player that I think should be knocking down the door of the France team. Adrian Truffert, I mean, he was a part of that Olympic squad that Henry coached, and I was always impressed with him. A lot of those players on that team I was really impressed with. But if you look at the recent history of the French national team, this man has not gotten any call-ups. He's only made one appearance back in 2022. And I think his performances for Bournemouth this season have warranted him to get a look, I think. And I don't think that left back is really you know, position where France is just overloaded with talent either. So I wonder if Truffert is in the manager's thoughts, or maybe he's, I know that coach is a loyalist to players, doesn't really like to change things too much. And the fact that Truffert hasn't really been involved for a long time, I think that might go against him. But honestly, on merit, I think Truffert should be one of the two left backs that France take to the World Cup personally. But we shall see. Maybe that's my EPL bias or something. And there were two red cards in the game as well. Christie and Anderson did receive red cards in this one. But 1-0 to Bournemouth. Again, they get another win, and they are just flying high right now. Sunderland and Man U, this one ended 0-0. No Casemiro, no party. Casemiro scored a goal every game. Was not available in this one, so no goals for Man U. And no assist for Bruno. Can you believe it? Um, but yeah, this one ended 0-0. The defenses were definitely the stars of the show. Both teams had their spells in the game where it looked like they could have gotten a breakthrough. I think Xhaka, again, just showing why he's so vital in that midfield, definitely locking all things in that middle. And if it wasn't for Lamens, he would have been the player of the match based on SOFA score rating. But Lamens, again, proving to be a good piece of business for Man U. I think he has been a good spark for them this season when you look at what he's been able to do, some of the saves he's made. He's made the odd mistake here and there, which, sad to say, is kind of part and parcel for the goalkeepers at this current stage in the world. I think they are asked to take more risk nowadays, and I think sometimes that does lend itself to making the odd mistake. But Lamens did have a really good game in this one. Sunderland definitely can hold their heads up high this season. At points they were in and around that European placements. In the end, they kind of ran out a little bit of gas, and I think really and truly it started for them once the AFCON took place. It did dismantle a lot of the players that were playing regularly. I think when they came back, they weren't all quite, back up to speed quickly enough. And yeah, that one stretch there from AFCON time to basically no, it's been a different, you know, kind of set of results for them, and the form has not been as good of late. And I think Xhaka did miss some time as well, and that didn't help. So yeah, Sunderland can feel proud that they stayed in the Premier League. And I think if they're being greedy and they're thinking about it, they're saying, man, if we had just been able to right that ship in that bad spell, maybe we're in at least one of the European competitions this year. But they'll regroup and forward again. I think they've done some good business in this season, so they can build on that. Staying in the Prem, they'll have a little bit of money as well, so they can maybe supplement and try to, get some more players in that they truly trust. So that, because I think what really happened to Sunderland too is they've been sticking with the same lineup, same lineup, same lineup. The guys just eventually going to start to lose the legs at this time of the year. But this was the stats on the game. Nil all affair, but Sunderland did have over 1 XG, 0.62 for Manchester United. Manchester United for the first in I don't know how long. I would love to check this stat. How many games Man U played this year and did not create a big chance? Because today was one of those, well, that day, Saturday was one of those days for them. Two big chances for Sunderland. Of course, they missed both of those. You see the shots 15-11, shots on target 4-1. So Man U must have only one shot on target. Sunderland did hit the woodwork as well. Final third entries 64-45 in favor of Sunderland. Touches in the box. Sunderland again. Pass in the final third. Long passes. So Manu went long 19 more times, but still had a better percentage of completion. And Manu decent with 25% crossing 4 of 16. The dribbles, aerial duels dominated by Sunderland, ground duels not dominated, but the edge to Manchester United. 4 saves on the day and 1.81, almost a full 2 goals prevented. So that explains why Lamens was able to get a 9.3. So a lot of hopping and popping for both teams. Nobody able to find the breakthrough. Sunderland hitting the woodwork twice and some brilliant goalkeeping from Sonny Lamens to keep this one at 0-0. And I think that did clinch, well, not clinch, but they're very close to locking up the third spot and definitely did clinch Champions League. I think they had done that from last week, though, to be fair. Then we move into the 12:30 fixture, the afternoon kickoff in the States, early evening in England. And this one was a 3-0 victory. Goals from Doku, Haaland, and Marmoush, all about 15 minutes apart in the second half. Doku looks like he's found the way he likes to score his goals now. That curling shot to the far post with the right or left foot, it was a carbon copy this time, the right foot again, and it was just placed brilliantly around the keeper and kind of over the head of a jumping defender as well to just nestle into the top corner. Brilliant strike by Doku. And then Erling Haaland, not hit the conventional way or not the usual way you see him scoring goals, but he had good invention to, with his back to the goal, just go ahead and heel flick, play a back heel towards it, and he was able to get the luck needed for it to get through to the goal line, and could peel off and celebrate his goal to make it 2-0. And then Omar Marmoush, who came on in the second half for Shirky, who, to be fair, had one of his most quiet games I can remember since maybe like early in the season when he was just getting those cameos. Marmoush did come on and play well and make a difference, just bringing a different drive to that forward line with his running and his ability to close down. It was just a different proposition for Keith Andrews and his team. And with them not being able to take advantage of the few little spells they had to take the lead in the game, it always just felt like at some point the dam was going to break and Man City would get the breakthrough. And pretty much once the breakthrough happened, it was kind of cruise control to the second and then to the third. So a 3-0 victory for Man City over Brentford. And, that was crucial for them because that improved their goal difference by 3. They already have the lead as far as goals scored is concerned. So if they do end up tying this league, the goal difference will play a big part. And like I said, right now, they are, I think, up by 1. Or I have to check it. We'll check it with the table, but I want to say right now the goal difference advantage is very slim in Arsenal's favor with that game in hand to play, which you'd expect them to be able to score and probably increase that goal difference at least by 1 once they have concluded playing against Palace on Wednesday. But a goal and assist from Haaland, and my fantasy team was proud of that because I've been holding that triple captain in my back pocket for this double game week, and Haaland came through in the first. And what a thingy, I'll be in fantasy life, I'll be cheering for Haaland to get some points. But I'll be happy if it's a 4-4 draw with 4 goals from Haaland. That would be great. As long as they just get a point, that would be even better. Igor Thiago, really, I don't know what kind of wall this man hit, but just hasn't really been able to convert some of the chances of late. Did have another big chance missed in this one as well. And Shade, I think, was the other culprit on the day. No, he didn't have a big chance. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. So these two people that played the attacking role or the striker role in this game both had big misses for Brentford. And, how different could the game have been? We'll never know. But I think Manchester City definitely good value for their victory. I mean, I still don't understand how they did not score in that first half based on how they were playing. It just seemed like luck was on Brentford side. And I can't even just say luck. I mean, Kelleher, even though he conceded 3 goals, was probably man of the match, honestly. And I would have given Doku as well. But if you wanted to find an alternative, it's hard to give a man a man of the match and they got scored on 3 times and their team lost. But I mean, he was very, very good. And I think Keller overall this season kind of proving like, yeah, he's good enough to be a number one. That was the big question at Liverpool. But yeah, he's proving to be somebody that can be a number one. I think he was talking about Chelsea Arsenal game and Rice will play. Oh, okay. Yeah. Pretty sure it's that game too. But come on, that was never a clear forward. Krupi is a player I really wanted Arsenal sign. Yeah, it's looking like he's gonna go to one of the biggest, Looks like Barcelona is after him. But I did hear rumors that Arsenal were monitoring as well. So we'll see. It's that time of year when Arsenal gets linked to every single player under the sun. My comment was can't do it for one player, but no for keeper. And I wasn't saying it should not be a foul based on the fact that the keeper got protected foul all around. Can't do it for one player, but no for keeper. Huh. Rice did it to a player in a game before, and you said in that game that players was holding each other, which seems like it's okay for outfield players. I just think the threshold for the holding is much higher when it's a player because people hold all the time on corners, like hold other outfield players, And that's typically why when they're around keepers, they try not to have their hands up at all. So if they're going to impede the keeper, it's like they try to do it coy. It's that was just so obvious and egregious, bro. Like even if he had his hand there in the gather part and then he moved it. But then if he moves it, right, probably just catches the ball. So, that's why he held his arm down, because he had a better chance of it not being able to catch it. Imagine next season, just praying they keep Carrick. Murder setting, because I don't think 3 game every week are gonna be easy. Banter for days. Lamens was signing of the season for Man United. All Arsenal fans who tried to convince me that Onana was a good keeper already apologized to me. We said Bruno now get the record. He can still get it, man. Him got 19 or 18. And an Arsenal player was holding a West Ham player in the box. Would you be feeling the same way about it if they give the goal or penalty to West Ham? I think DJ Giggs, again, what was the decisive action on the play? The fact that the keeper got a hand to it and couldn't catch it. Okay. So if that was the decisive part of the play, which I believe that's why VAR keyed in on that particular action, because that's what literally caused the ball to be loose, right? And again, if it wasn't a hold, literally the man had one hand here and one hand on this arm, like further down, like about here, right? And I don't know, have your wife or somebody, whoever is in the yard with you, just try to raise your arms with somebody holding one shoulder and holding a part of your arm and see how successful you are. Yeah, exactly. Like if the ball ended up to the area where Rice was with the player and Raya is not near the ball being held, I don't think the refs just ignore Rice holding the man from finishing and say, no, we have to call this foul on Raya because the goalkeeper is getting held. No. So where the ball, the first time the ball makes contact with any player in the box, it's Raya's hand. So that would be the place that they're going to look first, right? Or no? I mean, I thought that's why they looked at Raya so vigilantly. You know what I'm saying? The game that Arsenal fans was praying Brentford slap up Man City, but that didn't happen. No, I don't think Brentford was the game. The game we all are thinking that they're gonna have issues with is the Bournemouth game because they're in such good form. But if ball was crossing and both holding each other, then it's not pen. Haaland all score goal with him heel. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him do that. The ref helped City, but people don't complain. Based on what I saw, the player was running towards the ball. So you said that, which seems like it's because your team is your team to me. No. I'm well, all right. Gigs want to argue with Skull and me same time, but I don't think Skull and I saying the exact same thing. So he's saying I'm correct. I think about the part where I said the first action that they keyed in on, because the first point of contact of the ball was with Raya's hand, is okay, what's happening in the action when Raya goes like this to catch? And the minute that they look at that, it has to be called. And you can't say, well, since Rice is holding this one and Odegaard is holding this one, and the West Ham player is shielding this one, let's disregard where the ball was and just let's add up all the fouls, and whoever had more fouls, they get the foul. No, you can't do that. You look at the action that makes the most, that caused everything, right? If Raya is not held, he has the ability to jump. Now, if he jumps and just drops the ball, then hey, he's a fucking clumsy keeper and he dropped the ball, That show today. Yeah, and again, similar. I am saying if it's not exactly like what happened, then one has the argument that it didn't have to be given because it wasn't as egregious as this. Because he's not fouled by one player. There's two players fouling him. Todibo is holding down his shirt, right? And that's the thing. Like Arsenal's teetering on the line of legality, right? It's still a line. It's still a line. It's still a line. Ah, cool. It's still a line that there's like a threshold thing, right? And if Saliba's back is turned to the keeper and he's leaning on him, right? His arms aren't up in the air. He's not holding down any limbs of the player. I can't say that's the same as what happened. Look, what Pablo did in that game, I've never seen it. I have never seen a player so brazen to just hold down the keeper arms. I've never seen it. That's unprecedented, bro. You can't hold the keeper's hand and not get called for it. Clear foul, exactly. If the keeper had held the ball cleanly, a pen could have. Thank you. Thank you. If they don't foul Raya on that same play, if they don't foul Raya and a goal never go in, and them just check it because a lot of shit was happening and they want to check it on VAR, potential penalty check, chances are Rice or one of them man they get called for a penalty, no doubt. Because at least 3 Arsenal players were what I consider holding over the threshold of what's allowed. You know what I'm saying? But again, when a keeper is involved in any action, they always are going to look at that action. It supersedes everything. Now, if his arm, first of all, I don't think if the ball isn't going where it ends up going, I don't think Pablo even tries to hold on his arm. It's an instinctual thing. Like, I don't want him to catch this ball, so I'm going to hold on his fucking arm. Simple. Okay, but you said he couldn't catch the ball, which he couldn't catch the ball also. I don't know which game. What okay, I'm glad you mentioned that game. Okay, what game? What game? But what game? Which goal? And I'll go look up the goal now and see, and because I want to understand what you're saying, Gigs. Because I don't think you're trolling at this point. I think you're really and truly just trying to have a convo about it, which I respect. You know what I mean? Even if you're trolling, I still would talk to you. But I don't get the sense that you're actually trolling. Like either you really want to understand where I'm coming from, or you just think that I'm still not reasoning objectively and I'm mainly talking things because it's my team. Because the first thing you said was when it was Rice, I wasn't talking like this. But I also said that the display was unprecedented. No other time this season has any player, whether Arsenal or another team, attempted to hold down the keeper to arm them. That has never happened, ever. You cannot find a goal where that happened this season and it was allowed, or even an attempt at holding down the keeper's arm. That hasn't happened. I've never seen it. And I don't watch every game, but I watch every goal this season so far, and I haven't seen it. And I could be forgetting. That's possible, but I don't think I am. All right. So Man City, them lay down them marker. 3-0 over to you, Arsenal. What are they going to do? And many people were thinking after this 3-0, boy, this is the week when Arsenal probably crumble. West Ham away, they're fighting for their life, blah, blah, blah. So everybody already had it written in the stars that this was the week City kind of take over. after that 3-0, and they looked very good doing it too. I mean, it took a long time for them to get the goal, but not for lack of trying and not for lack of dominance in the game. Burnley and Aston Villa. So this is the team that Arsenal will be playing next week at the Emirates. And they handle business against Aston Villa. They got the lead, equalizer from Ross Barkley in the 42nd, then Route 1 football, Ali Watkins straight from Martinez, and a wicked finish as well. Don't even know if he meant to control it the way he did, but he brought it down, finished before the keeper came out, and then really a poor giveaway by Matty Cash in the corner, and good build-up play after that by Burnley. Fleming, who kind of started the move with the pickpocket, kept drifting to the middle top of the box, and it eventually got laid off to him, and he was able to bang it home. Zian Fleming, I think, is doing himself a good bit of I think he's marketing himself well. I think team like Coventry, who just came up, or was the second team to come up out of the championship? Was it Ipswich Town? Yeah, Ipswich Town. Either of those two teams, who knows? Maybe they'll be looking at Zian Fleming, a good alternative to going into the market, or just staying with the players that you had from the championship. Fleming proving that for a team that isn't one of the top teams in the league, I think his output has been pretty good. I think for the season now, with that goal, Zian Fleming is up to, let's see, 10 goals in the Prem. So that's not a bad return for, a team like Burnley, who has been relegated for a few weeks now. To get double digits with Burnley, after getting 12 in the championship, that's good returns, and especially for a Burnley team that more often than not is not the team that's having more of the play in the match. And nothing was different here. Aston Villa, very much a possession-based team. They definitely dominated the possession, 66-34. But you see the expected goals, the slight edge going to Burnley in that regard. Both teams had 3 big chances, a lot of shots as well in the game, 18 and 15. Villa with the slight edge there. Keepers were busy, 5 saves and 4 saves. See the big passing discrepancy, but passes don't win games. 76 shots on target in favor of Villa. And final third entries, 49 for Villa, 35 for Burnley. But Burnley just did a good job of maximizing the time in that final third, or during those entries. But yeah, Matty Cash made that error there, led to the equalizing goal. But this one ended 2-2. And, Zian Fleming, I think, putting himself in the shop window. Any team coming up from the championship, maybe, or even, mid to lower table teams in the Prem now that might be looking for another striking option. I think Fleming at 27 might be right around in his prime. And, while I don't think he'll get a move to any of the top 6 or, even top 10 clubs, I do think that he's shown and proven that he is a Premier League striker, getting double digits for a Burnley team that, isn't one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, actually. So, yeah, man, kudos to Fleming. I think he should be sticking around in the Prem. Another player I think deserves to maybe get a look at another Prem club next year and don't play in the championship is Esteve. I think he did a really good job this year for the most part, struggling defense. And yeah, one thing that I've noticed of late, this guy Morgan Rogers has really having some shitty performances. And I think the timing for him is terrible, because I think Tuchel submitted his provisional 55 today to FIFA. Sure, Morgan is in there, but we're having discussion the other day, like, there's a lot of attacking midfielders now popping up. I think what could save Morgan is his versatility. He can play off the left in a 3 behind the striker, can play just behind the striker, could even play as a supporting striker if you're going with 2 forwards. So I think the fact that he can play in multiple roles might save him. And also, he probably was one of the most impressive players the last couple of windows that Tuchel had. So I think he's built up enough with the coach probably to make it. But I'm sure he's reached out to him and said, hey, Morgan, your club form is not, it's not the best right now. What's going on? Maybe they're in dialogue and something's going on. But yeah, I think Rogers probably has enough credit in the bank to where this end of the season has been a little bit off for him, he probably won't get penalized by not making the team, I don't think. But it's a lot of options, man. We're talking, Gibbs White, who's on fire of late. We're talking Ezra. We're talking who else can play that 10 role / wide role? You know, do you pick Foden and Palmer? Do you pick Saka, who's just coming back? I think he's a must pick personally. But Jared Bowens of the world, what's gonna happen with him? What about Nani Madueke, who he loves, but Nani hasn't done much or enough for me. I don't even think he was doing enough when he got called the last time. But coaches have their favorites, and he clearly likes Nani's skill set. So it's gonna be interesting to see this England team how Tuchel pick it. To be honest, yeah, man, it's going to be quite interesting. Don't remember the game, but I'd have to go watch the VAR show when we were talking about it and put in the comments. Okay, so it's a game where it was like another big VAR decision and we had a little discussion. Okay, cool. I will try to find the game gig so that next time, or even if it's just a comment thing, maybe if I find it, I'll drop it in the comments on this video and we can continue the convo. But I'm curious. I want to know which one. I think I have an idea because there was one other controversial one. I think it was the Chelsea one. So I will go back and I'll do some research, man. No worries. To be honest, you're the only Arsenal fan that I noticed will take off the glasses at times that I notice, which I respect. Yeah, man. I don't really talk like, Arsenal can do no wrong. I ain't that way. I mean, I think I'm pretty objective when it comes to Arsenal. I mean, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so I guess subconsciously or whatever, it could, be a little case of that. But I think I pride myself on being able to be objective in these convos. You know what I mean? And I think, like you said, people notice that, and they know that I'm not just going to say, "Hey, this is the Arsenal way to think about this." No, because me personally, I would just rather that the refs are consistent and they get it right. But what I don't understand is, I will soon get to the Arsenal game, so we can talk more about it. But I knew this was gonna happen. Like, it's gonna be tough to get through the show without talking about that play more than just during that game. But anyway, to all Crystal Palace and Everton, Crystal Palace definitely with most of their attention heading to that Conference League, but Glasner knows that final ain't coming up for a little while, so he was able to play a pretty strong team in this game. Mateta and Strand Larson. Arguably, you could say Mateta is the first choice, so he kind of made a change there. I know for sure Brennan Johnson is not the starter in the Conference League, but but he started this game. Kamara and Wharton, that is the first choice midfield. Munoz and Mitchell, first choice. And then the back three is the first choice fit Crystal Palace defense and midfield, basically. Just a couple of changes from the norm up front, and Johnson. Usually could be him, could be Pina. It's usually between one of those two for that role. Tarkowski and Pickford, very, very good games. Tarkowski ended up with a goal and an assist in this one. And Pickford earning man of the match in terms of sofa score. So Crystal Palace, Everton, the stats look like this: 59 to Palace, 41% to Everton. Palace all the way at 2.56. So Pickford definitely earning that man of the match. Made some big, big saves in this one. 6 big chances to 4. So both defenses, well, can't even say both defenses were porous. I think really and truly the attacking patterns and the way that both teams were attacking was definitely very, very good. And it was partly the defense being a little bit lackluster as well, a bit of both. 21 shots to 13 in favor of the home team. Palace, both goalkeepers combined for 11 saves, so they were very, very busy. Shots on target, 8 to 6 in favor of Palace. They did hit the woodwork once as well. Big chances scored, two missed on Everton side, and only one big chance scored for Palace, but 5 misses on the day. And Palace is one of those teams, when I do the Taylor every week before we pick, I'm always like, damn, look at that XG compared to their goals. And they didn't do any justice to that in this game either. You see the dual split right down the middle, 50-50. Both teams were battling it out, and 50-46 in favor of Palace. Very, very close there. So this was just an overall even football match. The only difference I would say is Everton, while they did create the openings very similar to Palace, at least Palace's players made Pickford make saves. The same couldn't be said for Everton, because I don't think Henderson had quite as many saves to make. I think that was a huge difference there. But you see, this game was pretty balanced, as you can see. Almost equal time in each defensive third for both teams, and the midfield there just a little bit above those two at 41%. And yeah, this game was an entertaining game, man. As I said, the goals, very, very entertaining game. The goals came from Beto and Tarkowski, and on Crystal Palace side, Sarr and Jean-Philippe Mateta off the bench coming in to get a goal. So yeah, Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2, and hopefully Palace can create as many chances that they did against Everton on Wednesday versus Manchester City. Now moving on to Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. Nottingham Forest going into this game kind of knew, okay, Tottenham hasn't played as yet, and West Ham hasn't played as yet. So they're playing this game thinking we don't really know what we need, but we know that getting something on the board will be helpful. So 54-46 in favor of the visiting Newcastle team. Expected goals 1.48 for Newcastle, 1.10 for Forest. 2 big chances created by Forest, 4 big chances created by Newcastle. 6 apiece in terms of shots on target. Free kicks, yellow cards, okay. Newcastle hit the woodwork once. Big chances missed. So Newcastle just needed to be more clinical. They would have gotten all 3 points. And I think, Forest just is not the same beast without the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White. You just can see how much he does influence his team when he's not there. I just feel like they play so different when he's not there. Pereira was trying to win this game for sure. I mean, made a bunch of subs in the second half. At one point, had Chris Wood and Luca on the field same time, 2 out-and-out strikers. So he was going for it. And Elliot Anderson, I think, how old is Elliot Anderson, by the way? He's 23. I don't know if he's still in line to win a Young Player of the Year. I think he might have to be 22 or younger, but if he is, I will give him Young Player of the Year in the Premier League. And I wouldn't be shocked if Anderson wasn't like honorable mention for Team of the Season or something, because he's been consistently good throughout the entire season. Elliot Anderson looks to be a really, really good player. And I think playing against Newcastle, I'm sure every time their fans see him, they're just like, wow, we could have had this dude in our midfield right now. But Forest and Newcastle ended 1-1. Now, finally, we get to the game that we've referenced quite a few times already today. And that is the Arsenal versus West Ham game. So, this one was from the London Stadium. And of course, West Ham does need points at this point. They're in the relegation zone. And they definitely needed at least, well, not at least a draw. I think they wanted the win for sure. Ryan C. make Phil can't get minutes like he was before. Yep, that is true. That is true. But what was hilarious about this last game is when Shirky came off in the last game, he never bring on Foden. He bring on Marmoush. Even though I think Foden had come on already. So it was okay. But still. Bless up Jagans. So yeah, deal with my G. Hope everything is awesome with you and the family, my friend. All right, so first let's just take a look at the statistics, right? So we had Arsenal dominating possession 64-36, but the XG was extremely close, 1.18 to 1.15. 3 big chances created by Arsenal, 2 big chances created by West Ham. Arsenal outshot West Ham 15-9, but Raya did make 2 more saves than his opposition Hermanson. 4 corners to 3 in favor of West Ham. West Ham made a couple more fouls. A little less than double the amount of passes attempted by Arsenal over West Ham. And this was a very physical matchup. 4 yellow cards for Arsenal, 3 yellow cards for West Ham. 4 shots on target for Arsenal to the 3 of West Ham, so very close there. Hit the woodwork twice. Okay. 2 passes. 27 to 15 touches in the opponent box. And the entry is 65 to 58. So this game was extremely even, which I don't know if that's such a good omen for Arsenal to be so even with West Ham. But I think West Ham has been much better at home, definitely in the last month or so. So it was never going to be a pushover still. But Arsenal West Ham was actually dominating the duels in the game. You see the ground duels in favor of them, the aerial duels in favor of them, the overall duel percentage as well, and dribbling. So 8 of 11 and 2 of 10. So don't dribble no more, whoever that is. Passing the final third, long passes, crosses, and then defending. Real with the 0.79 goals prevented. And 1 big save. That must have been when my boy Fernandez go through a 1v1. But this was the lineups on the day. Mavropanos actually ended up getting the player of the match via ratings. And, usually he's been scoring goals of late, but this was just all about his defending and his defensive contribution. So, Mavropanos, good work. Former gunner, he never sink way. So we thank that. I think Ben White coming off hurt us a lot. We never really came to grips. This is Saka's worst appearance since he's been back from injury. I think he's been playing lights out so far, but definitely just never have it on the day. Very, very low score for him. Lewis Skelly did have to move to left back in the second half, but I thought he was not quite as brilliant as he had been in midfield lately. Declan, his usual 7.0, 7.1, 7.2. Saliba and Gabriel both in the 7s as well. Calafiori had to come off at halftime. Doesn't say injury there, but Arteta thinks that Calafiori, yeah, he came off at halftime. So Calafiori, he did say in the press conference that Calafiori was an injury sub, not a tactical sub. So yeah, we'll see how that goes moving forward. Arsenal don't play again until Monday, I believe it is, when we play next. So it will be an ample recovery time, especially being used to 3 days or whatever. Having this full week, should be good for a lot of the players in terms of their physical shape. You know what I mean? When you see the 1-1 is hey, what's going on, mate? Which VAR is the whole question about? West Ham or Spurs versus Leeds? I'm talking about the West Ham one. Now, the Spurs versus Leeds one I'm gonna talk about as well today. But the whole question is really about the Arsenal versus West Ham one. Yeah. Arteta need to improve, man. Only too much lead. The players need to wake up and fight more. And manager need to stop panic. Needs a squad overhaul. You think so? I don't think the whole squad need, but there does need to be some tweaks. All right, so let's just go through the details of what happened in the game, right? So Zubimendi had to come on for, well, he didn't have to, but Zubimendi was chosen to come on for Ben White when he had to come off injured in the 28th minute. Now, the fact that Mosquera came on at halftime and Calafiori is not listed here, usually they have a little symbol that means he's injured right beside the sub, like what it says for Ben White right there, that little sign. Like you see that little sign there, and also when you look at Ben White on this screen, you see the plus sign. That's just meaning the player had to come off injured. Now we don't see that on Calafiori's name with him coming off, and I just feel like he said that to not get asked the question of why did you not just bring on Mosquera for Ben White in the first place? You know what I mean? So he took off Calafiori, said that he was injured, it was forced. Moved Skelly to left back, Zubi and Rice in the midfield, and then Mosquera at right back. So, I just think he realized after what was going on in that last, 15 to 20 minutes or so, that something had to change at that right back spot. And his solution was to take Calafiori off and bring on Mosquera. Now, again, in the press conference, he was asked about that sub at halftime, and he was asked if it was tactical or something else, and he said yes, it was basically he just said no, just for whatever reason, that was what he wanted to do, and the sub was forced at halftime. So I think he's saying all that because he knows that people would say, brother, if you brought on Mosquera 18 minutes after your right back went off and you put a midfielder on just to move Declan Rice out of your middle, him knows him would get some beaten. So I think he's included this whole Calafiori was injured thing to kind of save people from wondering why the hell he put on Subimendi for Ben White at the time. I don't know if anybody agree with what I'm saying there, but that's honestly truly how I feel. No winger, striker, midfielder, left back. All right. Yeah, so that was kind of the first major incident. Arteta kind of messing up, taking out when White had to come off, putting Zubimendi in that midfield and moving Declan to right back where White was. And you saw right after Declan went over there twice, they got loosed on that wing, So I think Mosquera was definitely brought on to kind of handle that situation. But I think the truly influential one, not Havertz, but Odegaard. I think Odegaard have been beating him a lot this season. Don't think he's been living up to what I think his potential is. But in this particular game, like his way to probe and find that opening was on full display. And right before even the goal, he played a wicked reverse pass that was cut back and they just couldn't get on the end of it. And you could just feel like that was going to be the source of something on that side. And they did a really good job on that particular goal of, being patient and also overloading the space on that right side. So, if you can execute a 1-2, which they did crisply and properly, eventually the ball is going to get pulled back to someone. And, when it's Odegaard doing the dropping off, typically he's going to understand the weight of the pass and all that. So, yeah, they executed that really well. And Trossard didn't make a mistake. Got a little slight deflection, but I think it was going in the goal already. And Callum Wilson came on for this Disasi. They went all out. Obviously a loss does not help West Ham very much, but the point could have been crucial. So as we got into the injury time now, Callum Wilson from a corner ends up scoring the goal in real time. It was one of those where Rice cleared it, couldn't tell from the angle on the television if it had gone over the line. Ref looks at his watch, and the ball was completely over the line. So that made it 1-1. So, feeling dejected, feeling bad. But right when the play happened, I remember not only Raya and a few other players went up to the ref and were doing this motion with their hand. And I at first I was like, well, let me look for a handball when they replay it. And it wasn't even about handball, it was about the holding down of the hand or the arm, right? Yeah, man, you agree with me, right? I think the man make up this whole Calafiori thing so people don't say why the blow he never bring on Mosquera when the injury happened. You have a right back there, even though he's a centre back. We're seeing you start him at right back. We're seeing you bring him on and play right back. So how the hell you end up and move Rice out of the midfield when Rice been balling in that midfield? Why you want to move him out of there? I wouldn't understand. You know what I mean? Bless up Swamptivity. Yeah, deal with my G. Yeah, man, Ryan show must sit down, Because I know say Ryan there do a show when I start still. Big up Nitro. We have some boss. 2 wins away, Two finals away from getting this damn trophy. So yeah, the first thing, man, that was crazy. No, like I said, I can give flowers and I can take them away. Well, let me not say flowers before Duke why me again, but I don't really give a shit. But um, to me, that sub almost sabotaged the whole thing. Moving Rice to right back, bringing on Zubimendi in midfield. But the coach was very brave in the 67th minute after bringing on Mosquera for Calafiori. He made a double sub. He took out Eze and Zubimendi, who had come on in the game, and brought on Odegaard and Havertz. And his thinking behind that was, that space just in front there, that number 10 space. These are two players that just understand how to find the ball and find those spaces. And in the end, Odegaard did make the difference to set up the goal and, just kind of build the confidence just seeing how he was playing on the pitch. And yeah, I just felt like they kept going, and I feel good for Trossard because he kind of carried us in terms of offensively earlier in the season, and he's had a big drop off in form. It must be stated, but for him to come up big, and he's always been the type of player in the biggest games to find the goal. I remember him getting the goal in the quarterfinals of the Champions League last year against Bayern. He just always normally pops up with a big goal. So hopefully he got to some. Yeah, just always popped up with a big goal, Trossard. So good for him. I think it had gone like, I don't know, some madness like 20 odd games without a goal as well. So who knows? Maybe, he's a spurt type of player. So if him get a goal today, you might see him get a brace and a next one towards the end of the season. Who knows? But yeah, I think Arsenal literally got through this one. And again, if you analyze that VAR play with David Raya, yes, there's multiple grappling and holding things going on, but the minute the ball ends up coming directly to the goalkeeper for him to challenge for it, and in him challenging for it, it's basically clear as day. The guy is holding down one shoulder and his hand is holding down his arm. And if you notice on the play itself, when you watch it back, the guy literally has one hand on the ball. The hand that he can't get on the ball is the one that's being held. So, and the other one was being held. The only issue was it was down on his shoulder, so he still had his hands to move. This other one was immobile fully. It just was held from way low on the arm. So yeah, I mean, look, it was a big talking point. If you're a West Ham fan, I could understand how pissed off you are because the narrative going around is, but Arsenal do what they did every time. And I keep telling people it's not apples for apples what Arsenal do. There was no player on Arsenal's team this season that held a goalkeeper's two arms when he's jumping for the ball. Even when he's not jumping for the ball, we haven't held in the goalkeepers. Screening is different from holding. You understand? And as far as the defenders go, um, I can point to every single corner kick this season, and I probably could find somebody holding a player and the player isn't anywhere near the play. Like it's a back post run and the ball went to the near post and got headed towards goal and it was saved or something. Um, you know, yeah. So, boy. But when Callum Wilson got that ball over the line, guys, I was literally just silent. I didn't say anything. I was just sitting there like, damn. And the only thing that gave me hope in that moment was how adamant Raya was to the referee. Because as much as people like to talk about Arsenal is this annoying team, based on how they play this season and all that. I get that. But what I will say is like, um, we definitely have figured out a way to set the guys up to effectively screen or block the opponent. Now that I will say Arsenal has done really well. But to straight up set up with us holding the other team's goalkeeper, yeah, it hasn't happened, bro. Hasn't happened. Now when we're defending set pieces, Um, I want people to look at the amount of contact in the box for a lot of set pieces. And that's the thing that's inconsistent is, what exactly constitutes a penalty from a corner. I know football is not so black and white. You probably can't ask the question that way, but That's something we need to think about. Like, what's the end game? You know what I mean? Like, you complain all year that Arsenal is doing too much on the corners and we're getting away with it, right? And then in this particular game, because that's the case with Arsenal, otherwise, you guys are saying basically like well, Arsenal has gotten away with things, so why couldn't West Ham? And again, I'm saying we can't equate Arsenal scoring from a screen or from, being smart about the positioning to like literally egregiously holding down the arm of a keeper jumping for it. Like we've never done that. So for you to say that we've gotten away with all these things, I mean, we might have gotten away with things, but none of them were what happened to us in this game. Not one, not even the same thing. And that's what I don't know why people can't see that. They just keep saying, but Arsenal gets away with it. Why did they have to get the VAR involved with this? Because it was so egregious, guys. That's why. West Ham was pretty poor. Trossard is a clutch player. Well, his prayers was answered. For a minute, I thought McLaren was coaching Arsenal with that right side right. Arteta need to play Trossard. Yeah, I mean, I know you're not the biggest Martinelli fan, Skull, but I definitely trust Trossard more than Martinelli in games. You know what I mean? And the VAR decision better Hamas vex than me vex. Save Martinelli for Champions League. Yep, he has been good in the Champions League. Yeah, they could have done their own work for real. Last season, red card cost us people and same media complain about us. Now we improve and doing better. People still talking. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to hear how we're talked about if we do win the league, like next season and stuff. It's gonna be quite interesting because sponsorship wise, these pundits over there they don't really want to be talking too badly about the champs. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that plays out. Speaking about Arsenal, if we happen to move forward, win 2 games, or get the results needed from City to win the league, um, I'm interested to see how next season the narrative plays out with Arsenal being the defending champions. How does that change how people talk about them, if any? I do want to look at one other thing. So the stats in the game, the shots, right? So these are the West Ham shots. So Somerville, missed a shot wide. This one here, Castellanos, was a decent save. It was it wasn't against the runner play, but it was a nice counter attack and a diving header. But it was at a good height for Ray, and he was alert, so he kept it out. Fernandez blocked, Castellanos blocked. Yeah, Bowen, that was easily saved. And this was the big one. Look at that XG, over 0.5. That's like penalty shot territory. And he tried to give Raya the eyes. I think he ended up taking one more touch than he needed to, which let Raya really get close to him on the shot. If he had just pulled the trigger, the touch before that, I think we're having a totally different story. But yeah, that Fernandez chance was huge. And if Arsenal do end up claiming the crown, I think that save will always be in all the highlight reels of the Arsenal fans, because that was such a crucial moment. We hadn't scored yet. I think that would have put us down 1-0, if I'm not mistaken. So 1-0 in that stadium, needing to chase 2 goals. I wouldn't have liked to see what would have happened then. But yeah, this was the last match of the weekend. So Arsenal getting the win on Sunday. A lot of rival fans pissed off with the ref's decision, but again, as I think, the goalkeeper is just protected more than everybody else, and it was just too egregious not to call. That's just the sad part about it for the West Ham fans and from their perspective. But obviously, West Ham fans are gonna feel hard done by. But I just don't want you guys to equate what West Ham did to anything Arsenal has done this season, because you can't show me a goal that we scored with that same type of action from one of our players. Kinski got the man of the match in this one, had a rotted save at 1-1 after they equalized, and that could have been the difference in keeping them up this season. We won't know until the end, but I would consider that a 2 point save by Kinski when he was able to get down and get that one off the bar. I think Longstaff had come on off the bench, and first time he went forward, had a good chance, and it was a good save by Kinski as well. Um, so you see the Tottenham team, you see the Leeds team there. Very, very even on the day. Both teams, I thought. I think first half was more Tottenham. Second half, you could argue, was more Leeds. But I think both teams kind of had a half, you know. These were the players. Wait, what? Okay. So this is the ball position stats. Tottenham 57 to 43. The expected goals very, very close, 1.32 to 1.26. Three big shots created by Leeds to two for Tottenham. Tottenham leading overall shots, and the shots on target actually is flipped. So Leeds had four and Tottenham had three as far as seat. Yeah, as far as shots on target. Sorry. Hit the woodwork twice, did Leeds on the day. And the entries in favor of Leeds as well, 66 to 49. So Tottenham playing for their Premiership lives at this point. Should go and definitely give a thank you to Kinski. He's had a rough time this year. Some fans wondering why he even make it. But he was good on this day, and he definitely had a draw save when Longstaff was put through late in the game in injury time. He was able to get there and, leave out in time. But Kinski trying to earn a permanent spot, you know what I mean? But he was good. He was good. He made some good saves. Matisse Tell went from the hero to the zero. And I think in this game, there was a bit of controversy as well. So there was a there was a play in the box. Ampadu goes for it with his head. Tell, who is underneath it long before Ampadu, isn't aware of who's coming in either. He just jumps to bicycle kick that ball. So Ampadu gets there first, and in getting there, the next thing happens is a kick to his head. And I think once the ref went to VAR, I think they were going to give it for sure. I mean, it's dangerous play. And, the fact that it was in the box does not negate that it was a dangerous play. And so, yeah, I think the right call was made, to be fair. It's harsh. It's one of those things where Tell is just literally trying to clear. So I get that. But, yeah. So Calvert-Lewin stepped up to convert and equalize after Matisse Tell scored a wonder goal. So he went from being the hero to being the villain in one match. But good to see James Maddison back as well. Good to see him. He's been out for a while. Not, obviously he plays for Spurs, so I'm not going to be cheering for him so much. But, Maddison is a good player. So glad to see him back for Tottenham in this one. Yeah, man, Fernandez is a good player. But he's not only a runner too, he's technically good, And to be honest, I was shocked he didn't finish that. Like, I've seen him get through and just finish that. But, Raya did a good job of not showing his hand too early of which side he was thinking he was going to go to. And I think when he made that last touch, it just gave Raya that chance to take two more steps, which just closed the angle perfect. I heard he said, well, it's actually a foul on a corner, which is a good point to me. Okay, cool. Because I wasn't looking at the game at the time, I was wondering what was happening. Then when I saw it, I was like, what kind of madness Spurs players thinking? Yeah, exactly. 6 draw game this week for real, bro. That might have been a record, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 6 draw game out of 10. This Kinsey guy, man, I save Spurs. I'm happy for him as a person, but not as for a player. After that Champions League, yeah, bro. Tottenham fans wanted to just straight up dash him away after that, bro. But I just feel like he wasn't ready for that yet. Like he just need some more chance for play. I don't think how much was hell, but Spurs are always Spursy from hero to zero. Yeah, man. Hero to zero. But yeah, Leeds, I forgive when name Daniel Farker, I forgive some credit, bro. Cause even them Norwich team, they never stayed up, but they weren't like the worst footballing teams. And Leeds play some good ball, bro. They definitely play some good ball, man. And they like this brother Stack was a great pickup for them. Ampadu just locked the middle, Tanaka, I was expecting more out of him this season, to be fair. But I think they did miss Jaden Bogle today. I don't know what was wrong with him, if he was injured or what. But yeah, they missed him on the right hand side, I thought. But yeah, Spurs still have work to do. They got a draw, which is better than nothing. But we're about to pull up the table now so you guys can see exactly what's going on. But let's just take a look at the stats real quick. I've already done the stats on this game, actually. So yeah, 1-1, another drawn match. Spurs fans probably not the happiest about that, but to be fair, the team that came closer after the 1-1 was Leeds. After Longstaff took that shot that was goal bound, and Kinski somehow got a reflex hand to it to tip it onto the bar and out. That was quite a ridiculous save, to be honest. Probably the best save he's ever made for Spurs. And it could prove to be the most important. So yeah, that's it as far as the games. 10 games, full of incident, full of drama. Hopefully, my objective observations in regards to that VAR controversy in the Arsenal game, hopefully I was making some sense. You know what I mean? The Leeds player brave to put him head in that play, though. Yeah, I mean, Ampadu made his mind up early. I don't think Ampadu even thought that bicycle kick was coming. He just was like, I'm going to get to this header first. And if you notice, like, he kind of did realize in the end that something was going to come, because I think he that kind of turned his head, which is a clear sign that he was kind of bracing for something. And the man toe point just catch him right in his head, brother. So rough. So yeah, let's take a look now at the Premier League table as it stands now. It's very, very congested in certain parts of it. So let's just take a look at it real quick. So of course, Wolves, Burnley already relegated, can't do nothing about that. The interesting thing that I'm seeing with the schedule is the last game of the season is Burnley versus Wolves. So maybe bragging rights might be at stake if Wolves were to somehow get 3 points from Fulham. You already know what I think is going to happen with Burnley. That last game of the season could be who finishes last in the Premier League. Now, I think matters, you're both going down, but hey, maybe they have the bragging rights thing. So maybe the Burnley Wolves game could have some excitement after all. West Ham, 2 points from safety. Spurs on 38, West Ham on 36. The problem for West Ham right now is they're kind of almost 3 points behind when you factor in the goal difference, because that would be the first tiebreaker. So as an example, let's say Spurs get a draw against Chelsea, West Ham beat up Newcastle on the week. Even though they'll be tied on points, I'm pretty sure that West Ham won't win that game by 11 goals. So they'll be down in terms of goal difference, which is kind of why I say it's really like a 3-point gap right now, because, that goal difference is as good as a point at this point of the season. So they're really going to need to get at least a win and hope that Spurs lose to Chelsea and go ahead and get in front of them, so that on the last day, as long as they better the result of Spurs, they're good to go. Because if they end up tied on points, I do not see them being able to, overturn that 11 goal difference margin that is there right there. So Nottingham Forest on 43 points, mathematically safe. Even if West Ham gets 6 points, they'll end on 42, which would be one less than than Forest. And obviously Spurs can pass them, but it won't matter. West Ham can't pass them. So at worst, Forest finish 17th. Crystal Palace, Leeds also safe at this point. So nothing to worry about there. Newcastle, 46 points. Disappointing season, it must be said. They definitely didn't think that they would be not even in the top 10 this year. I'm sure the aspiration would have been to get to Europe, but they're going to fall well short of that on 46 points. Then you have Sunderland on 48, Fulham on 48, Fulham with a slightly better goal difference. Everton on 49 points. after that nice run of form, they haven't been able to get a win in their last 5. They've kind of plateaued a bit at 49 points. Chelsea finally got 1 point. They've been on 48 forever. So they finally get to see what 49 feels like. They have relegation threatened Spurs upcoming. I think that's going to be one of the picks of the weekend in terms of games coming up. Brentford, 51 points in 8th position. And as you can see, only 4 points off 6th position Bournemouth, which right now, if things stay the way they are, if Villa can hold on for that 5th spot in the Premier League and go on to win the Europa League, that will open up 6th place in the Prem, getting a Champions League spot as well. So everybody in and around that 6th area, we're talking about. At one point, I was including Chelsea, Everton, Fulham, Sunderland, but I think they're kind of a bit too far removed now. Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth, I think that's the 3 that will be really fighting for that 6th position, which could potentially actually mean Champions League qualification. We won't find that out until the Europa League final has been played and we see the final league table in the league. Because as long as Villa finish 5th, win the Europa, 6th place is an automatic Champions League spot from England. Then you'll have 7th going to the to the Europa, and 8th, Brentford currently going to the Conference League. It would be hilarious to me if Chelsea end up in the Conference League again, just because they won it the other day. But we'll see how that plays out, right? Then 4th, 3rd, really kind of, well, not 4th, but 3rd, really kind of, it is what it is. I don't think they can't be caught by points to get to 3rd place, but I guess goal difference, they could, have to go behind Liverpool in the end. But Man U, they did their dues already. I mean, Carrick came in, right the ship, getting results, had 3 wins on the bounce after a loss. Man City did drop points the other day, but bounced back really well in their last game against Brentford. And Arsenal, 3 wins on the bounce, what we needed at this current time after 2 losses, the Bournemouth and the Man City loss. So right now we have a 5-point lead, but remember, Man City do have that game in hand, which will be made up on May the 13th, which is Wednesday. Let's just take a look real quick at the stats on the season now. So Haaland looks like he's running away with another goal in boot, 26. And he has another game to play this midweek. Igor Thiago on 22. João Pedro 15. Semenyo 15. Gyökeres 14. Welbeck, Gibbs White, Calvert-Lewin all on 13. And Junior Krupic, Ollie Watkins on 12. Bruno is at 19 assists. Shirky 11. Bowen 10. Haaland 8. Garner, Xhaka, Odegaard, Wilson, Salah, Trossard. So Bruno needs to bring home his stuff. Will Bruno get that record is the question. He has 2 more games to do it. One of his main targets for assist wasn't in the game, the last game. So maybe he need Casemiro to come back and play. And then he'll have a chance to go ahead and get that thing. All right, people. So that's the Premier League table. I definitely also want to give a special shout out to Miss Bonnie Shaw. Bonnie Shaw was named the PFA Women's Player of the Year, and also was able to fire Women's Player of the Year. Also won the league with City, and also a brace in the semifinals of the Women's FA Cup got them into the final at Wembley. So kudos to Bonnie Shaw, just making everything happen over there for Man City. And they're gonna have to figure out like what's gonna happen, because she did knock out Chelsea out of the Women's FA Cup. That's the team she's rumored to be going to play for. So it's just gonna be an interesting one to see how that all plays out. Yeah, but congrats to Bonnie Shaw on that achievement. And then, of course, we have the playoffs going on in, the Championship, League One. So we did find today that Millwall came to the end of their road. They dropped out because Hull City beat them 2-0. Of course, Hull City, the parent club to Casey Palmer. He went on loan to Luton, where he won player of the season just from January onward. Like, no, player of the whole season, but he was there just from January onward. But tomorrow they move into the second leg of the semi-finals, and that is Southampton Middlesbrough going into that game at 0-0. As far as League One is concerned for promotion, of course, I'm looking at these mainly because I know we have some players that could either represent for Jamaica or have already on some of these teams. So Stockport County 1-0 after the first leg, and they're going back home to play the second. Bolton 1-0 over Bradford. But I love if Bolton could have make it all the way back to the Premier League. But that is basically them now in League One, which is the third tier. And then English League Two playoffs. Notts County did win the first game against Chesterfield 1-0. Tyrese never even get a game. Wow. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. I think second legs to come up on Friday for League Two. Let's see when. And I know Southampton plays tomorrow against Middlesbrough. That should be a cracker. And then League One. So the second leg of Stockport will be Wednesday. So we'll be tuning in to that and the Man City game on Wednesday. So let's get into the next order of business now, people, which is letting people know how the picks went for the week. All right. So Wun has entered the chat. Wun always have some opinion. So let's see what him said. BBK said the table look nice. Aya. Yeah, man. Big up yourself to BBK, people. If you haven't already, go and give my boy BBK a strength. That is Taran over on BBK Sports, one of the better ones out there. You like objective talk? Gigs, trust me. He's probably even, well, I wouldn't say he's more objective than me, but yeah, we're on the same wavelength as it comes on to talking about Arsenal. Now, the only thing you might not fully enjoy over there is that he does kind of focus a bit more on Arsenal, but not to the point where he doesn't talk about anything else. And also, there's multiple different fan bases represented in this chat as well, which is cool. So, yeah, man, it's a lot of things for everybody over there, but that's really, really knowledgeable, and I think has very good ball sense. Never play ball with him yet, but just based on how him talk, yeah, I can listen to him talk about football for sure. Bless up Apache, Wagwan, G. Me never see you pick them this week, bro. What happened, man? You missed it. Which team was surprising and disappointing? So the question of the week, Gigs always ask me, which I love. Which was the surprise team of the week? I would have to say, and it's based on performance. So surprising in a good sense, like they performed well. I have to say it was Burnley. I didn't expect Burnley to do anything in that game. I just figured they would just give Aston Villa the game. Now, I wasn't factoring in Aston Villa, having the second leg, euphoria of making the semi and all of these things, which people aren't really talking about with the West Ham performance, it's not an excuse. It's just, it is what it is. You're coming from a high and you have to kind of get back down to earth to play the game. Well, sometimes that's a bit hard. And I think that hit Villa a bit this week. And I think also, even though we got the 3 points, it was a factor in why we were kind of flat in that game, I think. But yeah, I would say surprising was Burnley, and I would say disappointing was probably what him name? I won't go as far to say Arsenal was disappointing because, I mean, West Ham has been playing teams tough at home. I think they said that at home they had gotten points off of United and City, and Arsenal would have been the whole top three that took points off of at home. Well, we kind of were able to get it over the line, but damn, that's a good question, man. Which team was the most disappointing performance wise? I'm looking at the scores, but I'm trying to remember like the performances too. You know what? I probably say Man U. I probably say Man U. I mean, they have just been so prolific at creating chances pretty much all season that I wouldn't have expected them to be so, just dull in attack. You know what I mean? That's probably the best word for it. But I mean, yeah, I have to give some level of respect to the fact that like they really didn't have Sesko. It was Xerxes up top. He didn't start them boom when it wasn't really the same thing that we've been seeing that's been creating the chances. But at the same time, it's not like well, people will say he's a bum, but I don't think Xerxes is a bum. I think he does help certain aspects of what you want to do. But yeah, I was disappointed in the Manu performance. I thought they would have a better performance, create more, cause more problems. But Sunderland kind of turned back to the vintage Sunderland of this season because they were quite stingy on that day. So Manu disappointing and surprising. I'd have to go with Burnley. I just didn't expect them to do anything because they ain't playing for nothing. So that's some serious. I have to give credit to their coach for getting them up for the game because they really have nothing to play for, to be honest. In every situation, when you're about to do something, think what's the best thing that can happen by doing this? What is the worst thing? In both cases, Tell and Dancer did 2 plus 2 and came up with 176. Yeah, it wasn't a good performance this week. We played good in like maybe out of a 90, out of 100 minutes worth of football, we probably played 15 good minutes. Like honestly. Yeah, I mean, Tell could have easily just jumped up in the air and hit it. I don't know why he felt the need to do that. Yeah, just hit the ball, bro. And that if the both of them want to hit each other head, they're not calling a foul for that. But when you kick him in the head, they're probably gonna call a foul. Just our goal deflected too. Most things are going our way this season. We ain't good, but we'll probably win it. And the worst champions ever, in my opinion. But I don't care. Just win. Yeah. Ain't no. I mean, this whole worst champions to win. That I could care less. I'll be the worst champion next year too. If it was in the opposite box, cool, but not in your own box. Exactly. I think Bonnie had a good shot at the Ballon d'Or this time, especially since if she helps Jamaica progress to the next World Cup. Maybe, JB, maybe. But I think the problem for her is gonna be um like it's Barcelona's in the final, right? So yeah, any of them Barcelona girls and they play for Spain and Spain wins the World Cup, like it's gonna be a problem, you know? Coaching ain't easy. Every time gigs. Every time. Ugly loss better than pretty win. Yeah, man. BBK a general, man. Some people just born stupid and will always be that way. Romero is a big man now and still does it. It's not about age, it's about intelligence. Yeah, it's sometimes it's about discipline too. Like, I just feel like Romero is just indisciplined, bro. I think I watched his channel a few times. I don't really be watching many shows lately, and I like watching channels that make sense, and he does from the future. Yeah, man, he's very, very sensible, bro. Trust me. I vouch for him, bro. I pick Hull, but in the Prem has to be Burnley. Okay, Hull surprised you. Yeah, a lot of people were thinking Millwall was gonna get through today, but bro, I didn't watch the game still, but I want to watch it back and see how the hell Hull won because I was thinking Millwall was gonna topple them. See, as an excuse. I've been shit all season from game one, and I've continued in that vein. We have maybe 3 or 4 good performances. Yeah, but one you have to acknowledge that the Fulham performance was excellent. So based in that vein, I wasn't expecting the West Ham performance to be so bad. You know what I mean? I was expecting a better performance. Yeah. Is Ahmad not fast though? Like it's almost like he's fast, but then he doesn't really use his speed. He gets the ball to feet like all the time. Yeah. But people, Let's get to the big reveal. For those of you that like the predictions and take part, this is your segment. So big up to all of those who played this week again. Really appreciate the support and the commitment and the engagement. Yeah, man, really, really appreciate it. But let's get this on the screen. So, people, without further ado, Week 36 table looks like this. Moss Sports World, big up yourself, my G, 7-3 with one correct score. Moss got the 1-all new Nottingham Forest Newcastle game. Jason Gooner TV fell just short. Doing my best Arsenal of the last 3 seasons impression, finishing in second in the table. 6-4, did not get any scores completely correct. And then Grizzle, been having a good season with the picks. This week he fell just behind 5-5, but he did get 2 scores correct. Also got the Nottingham Forest Newcastle 1-all and got the 3-0 Brighton game, like most of those who played this week picked that 3-0 up. Now, people, that is the champion. So congrats again to Moss Sports World. Big up to Moss Sports World. Got a lot of things right there. So let's move on to, for whatever reason, the people like to see who's the donkey of the week even more. You know, we just like to laugh at people and troll people. So this is like the more exciting one, you know. But I'm going to say, Moss, big up again. Well done for winning the table this week. But we do have multiple donkeys of the week. And these are those. And I'm so sorry that it had to be you guys. But Coach Richard Edwards, 4-6 with one correct score. I believe everybody that got the donkey did pick the 3-0 Brighton over Wolves. Duckland having a good season normally, but now he's back riding the donkey. He was the donkey of the year last year, I believe. And I think a part of that was just he was so dedicated and played every week. So I can't really, beat him too bad for that. He just was a participant all the time and he had the most. But I think he's doing much better this year. I don't think he's in the running for that this year, the donkey of the year. And sorry, JB. Yeah, I'm a virgin. Duckland, I'm a virgin. All three of them, I'm a virgin. But it has to be someone. And sad to say, this week it's you guys. So hee-haw, hee-haw, and hee-haw. Hopefully there's enough grass out there in the field for the three of you. Yeah, people, that is the score prediction. So again, the champion this week, Moss Sports World. Big up to Moss Sports World for playing again, and big up for winning. And then it was a 3 donkey race. Coach Edward, sad to say, Duckland, and also JB Joseph Brown. Big up on yourselves and thanks for playing. Now, this week is a bit tricky with the schedule. We're going to have to be kind of stretching out the preview and the review across a few days. I think the first game of the week is on Friday. So we'll be here Thursday night for the preview show, where I'm going to go ahead and do 10 fixtures. But the crazy thing about next week is I think the last fixture will be all the way on Tuesday. So, we'll have a lot of time to go through before the review show comes along. But yes, the preview for this week will be on Thursday, people. Thursday, May the 14th. That's when we'll return for some more EPL content, the preview show for the entire week. Stick around. We'll pick the games. We'll analyze what we think will happen in the games. I will try to make sense of what the results will be before they happen, before they even happen. They did have the performance of the week. The Fulham performance was good, but Fulham were awful. The Fulham game is one of very few performances that were good. No, but I think Fulham was awful because we were good. I can't just put it down to Fulham being awful. I didn't say that game was tuned into the Leeds game. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't watch that game either. I was watching the Spurs game. Yeah, man. Big up to Mas, man. City playing Wednesday. Yep. City playing Wednesday, but I'm not going to include that in the week, because remember, City will have another game on the weekend. So we'll still get 10 games in for the week of 37. City just kind of fell in a middle time. So I didn't want to include it in this week and wait till Wednesday to do a review. And I don't want to start from Tuesday preview and then Wednesday all the way to Tuesday. So I say that City game, that makeup game, it just won't fall in any prediction. Definitely Thursday when I do the preview show, we'll talk about the Wednesday game just to, recap it and see what happened and talk about it. But from that point, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so there'll be 10 games ending off with the Chelsea Tottenham game on I think the Tuesday. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit disjointed that week, but we'll get 10 games in and we'll have a full slate of games to pick. All right. Fulham had no shape and played the opposite way to every team that's beaten Arsenal this season. They play like Arsenal, going sideways and backwards. Can't beat Arsenal that way. So yeah, people, that is it, That is it, A full 2 hours and almost 20 minutes, the longest ball game in review history, I think. A lot of that had to do with so many talking points, but the main one being that crazy VAR situation. So let me see what the people thought. We had 19, about 30 something votes, I think. I can't even see what that number say. Anyway, it looks like the VAR got the call right, according to 74% of you. Still 26% of you saying that no, they didn't. Interesting, people. Just let me know in the comment section. I'll probably leave a comment in the comment section asking, hey, give me your full thoughts on that whole situation with VAR in the Arsenal West Ham game. And clearly, people have an opinion on the West Ham Spurs one as well. So we can ask that in the comment section as well. But people, big up and thanks so much for those who did have the chance to tune in and drop some comments. Get involved in the conversation. All the silent watchers that pass through, hopefully you guys hit the like button on your way through here. And if you're watching this on the replay, people, the like button does not turn off. So please do hit the like button, okay? Big up and thanks so much for tuning in. Big up yourself, One. Big up Gigs. Big up Apache. Big up Pristine, Jagans, DJ Gigs. Anybody I did not mention, it's not because I don't want to. It's just because, hey, it is what it is. But you know who you are, people. Big up on yourselves and thanks so much for tuning in. Definitely this week, I've been kind of slacking on my Jamaica content. Believe me, there's so many things going around right now that I want to talk about. So at some point this week, people, definitely look out for Gooner to forward with some Reggae Boys content, all right? And Jamaica football in general, because we're into the playoffs in the JPL. Man's giving that a look as well, so we can talk about those things. So yeah, man, look out for the show, a nice discussion, reasoning time show. We're going to focus on Jamaican football, period. I have a lot of things to talk about. Competitions coming up that people might have forgotten about, we need to talk about. The girls getting put in a CAC group for that. So yeah, man, a lot of things going in the pipeline with the Jamaican football, the Unity Cup right around the corner. So yeah, man, we have some discussions to be had, and definitely all of you that are Jamaica football fans and like to hold the reasoning with me about on those topics, look out for some content this week as well. But as far as my EPL fans are concerned, or those who watch the EPL content that I produce, I will be back with a preview show, a full preview show on Thursday. All right, people. So big up. Thanks so much for tuning in. And let me know in the comment section if you guys want to see a hate along or a hate watch on Wednesday or not. All right, people, because I'm not really one for those, I think if I do that, they'll probably win 7 love or something. But I've never done it before. So let's see. Maybe I do it then. All right, people. Well, big up on yourselves. And thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Jason Gooner. This is Jason Gooner TV. And come on, you Gooners. 2 more league match and 1 Champions League final. Come on.